snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to do week number 2 of BooktubeSFF Babbles. This is very exciting because this week it is overlooked fantasy, so you have to suggest a handful of different fantasy books that you think are overlooked on BookTube. They haven't had enough hype or they don't get enough recognition as you think that they deserve. So I had a look through my favourite shelf on Goodreads, and then I had a look at all of the books that were on my favourite shelf but had less than 10,000 ratings, which I know sounds like a lot. Some of these have a lot less than 10,000, some of them are less than 1,000, but some of them have around 6,000–7,000. So I'm going to tell you guys in descending order. So the first ones you may have heard of, they may be more popular, but I still think that they don't get enough recognition. And then the last few will be the ones that I really think you guys should read and pick up because they haven't got very many ratings on Goodreads and they haven't got a lot of reviews. So let's get started. The first one that I'm going to recommend to you guys is actually kind of a crossover with fantasy and steampunk, and it's also Japanese inspired. This is the Lotus War series by KRISTOFF. The first one in the series is STORMDANCER, and you guys may have seen my review a while back for this. I adore this series. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's got really cool elements to it. It's set in Japan and it's got a lot of ancient Japanese culture sort of riddled in the story. I don't know how accurate it is. It may not be that accurate historically, but it's definitely exciting and it has lots of really cool characters who you can follow. The main character is a female and she is a fantastic lead character. The thing I like about this is that even though it's a YA series, I believe, it's not all about the romance. There is romance, but she is a great character on her own. There's also some really interesting elements to the world building. Like I say, it's a Japanese inspired book, so that's also very cool. But we also have some ancient traditions and beliefs that inspire things like the Arashitora, which is a mythical beast that comes into the story, and it's a thunder tiger, I believe, so it's very, very cool. I would highly recommend this. If you like steampunk, or if you haven't really got into steampunk, then this is a great start point, and I think it's a fantastic series overall. I really loved the last book, and I loved the first two, but the last was probably my favourite, and I gave this series as a whole a 4 stars out of 5 stars overall. On Goodreads, this has just under 8,000 ratings and just over 1,500 reviews, so it's not hugely popular, but it obviously has an audience. This is the most popular one I'm going to tell you about, so from now on they'll just be descending in how popular they are, but definitely check that one out. The next one I have to tell you guys about is one that I always mention when people ask for underhyped or underrated books, and this is A Cavern of Black Ice by J.V. Jones. It's the first one in the Sword of Shadows series. I adored this. I think J.V. Jones is an excellent writer. She is absolutely fantastic. She can make world building so beautiful and also so tragic. She has no qualms about doing horrible things to her characters. It's set in a very icy Arctic landscape, so that's an interesting twist already, and her storytelling is fantastic. I still have the next few in the series to read, but this one was a 5-star standout book to me and I adored it from page 1 to the very end. I just think it's a fantastic series all round and I would highly recommend that more people try it. I do know that J.V. Jones is an author who hasn't finished her series and is drawing out the years between books now, so I know that's why some people don't want to start this, but I think the first book on its own is incredible, so definitely worth checking out in my opinion. On Goodreads, this has just over 7,000 ratings, but only 144 reviews, so not many people have actually reviewed it, but I have reviewed it and I think it's fantastic and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, so check it out please. The next one that is on my list is The Red Knight by Miles Cameron. Miles Cameron was originally a historical fiction author and he is a fantastic one because he knows his stuff. He knows how to write battle scenes accurately and he knows how to make armour and arrows and all of those sorts of things work as they would in reality. It's a genuine book with some real gritty characters. It's about this Red Knight who is leading a band of mercenaries around and he gets involved in the fight against the Wild, which is this crazy sort of woodland at the side of the realm of the men, and in this crazy woodland are loads of mythical beasts and creatures and horrible things that do not really like men and humanity very much, and so they constantly are attacking them, and this one is the beginning of a big epic war. So it's really great. It's definitely one that I think is fantastically written and I would love to see more people read. It has around just under 7,000 ratings and 500 reviews on Goodreads, so please do check this one out if you guys are interested in it. If you like mercenaries, if you like kind of gritty stories with great characters, then this is one to check out for sure, and I would highly recommend it. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next one I have on my list I know has got a little bit more hype on BookTube within the SF community. I think this is an exceptionally fun series though, and I think it deserves more hype, and that is the Ketty J series by Chris Wooding. It begins with Retribution Falls. This again is a steampunk series. It's a steampunk pirate series, and it's just utterly fantastic in every way. I think this series deserves more fun and more recognition than it gets, because it is fun, it is feisty, it has great characters who all bounce ideas off of one another and react to one another in fantastically funny and amusing ways. I just think it's a great adventure story, and all of the books in this series are fabulous. As a whole, I think I gave this series a 5 stars overall. It was just a really, really fantastic series, and there are 4 in the series, but they're all fairly short, so definitely one I would highly recommend picking up. This has just under 6,000 ratings, but only 715 reviews, so again, definitely not massively overhyped. The next one I have to tell you guys about is also kind of a steampunk sort of era fantasy, which is a common theme. Maybe the steampunk itself is just underrated. However, this series is the Burton and Swinburne series, and it's by Mark Hodder. The first one in the series is The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack, and I think this is a really fun, quirky series. You follow this guy called Burton, who is a detective, and his friend Swinburne, who is a failing poet, and the two of them go on all sorts of uproariously stupid adventures. They get involved with the Clockwork Man, who is very much disrupting the way of life in London at the time. He's a bit crazy, no one really knows what he wants or why he keeps turning up in random places, and it's just a bit of a bizarre one, but absolutely fantastic. If you like British dry humour, then you'll definitely love this one. It also has some really wacky inventions within it, and I just think it's hilarious every time I read one of these. I've read the first 2, and I'm halfway through the 3rd one, but I need to get back to it, and I just really think this series is so much fun, so enjoyable, and the characters and the world is just fabulous. So if you want something very British and funny, this is definitely it in my opinion. And it has just over 5,000 ratings, but only 720 actual reviews on Goodreads, so definitely worth checking out. The next one I have to show you guys is INDA by Sherwood Smith. A lot of you may know this as one of Sam from Novels and Nonsense's favourite books, and it's a really great one. She convinced me to read it last year or the year before, and it was fantastic fun. INDA is a great character, and the world that he comes from is very, very complex, with some really interesting ideas about the hierarchy of people and the different places that people come from and the origins of names. All very interesting stuff, and the actual book itself is really fun. It's easy to connect to the main character. It does have a very classic tone to it, but I think it's a very, very wonderful story, and it definitely deals with some interesting topics of bullying and things like that. I really want to get back to this series and read the second one, but I was so happy to read the first, and I think it doesn't get enough recognition on BookTube, so that's why I'm mentioning it. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and on Goodreads it has just under 3,000 ratings but only 257 reviews, so well worth picking it up and checking it out if you like more classic fantasy with original ideas, because it doesn't feel like Tolkien even though it's classic. It feels very unique and wonderful, so highly recommend that. The next one I have on my list will be no surprise to many of you who watch my channel, and that is the Moontide Quartet books by David Hare. David Hare is a New Zealand author. The series begins with Mage's Blood, and I absolutely adore this series. As you guys know, I just finished reading it. There are 4 books in the quartet, and I just finished the 4th one in February and absolutely adored all of them. As a whole, I would give the series a 5 stars. I gave one of the books a 4.5 but still adored it, and the first book is absolutely wonderful. I will say it's a slow beginning, but once you get past a third of the way through, you will be absorbed by the book and hooked by it. I loved it. The magic system, the world, the combination of Eastern and Western influences, the characters who are fantastic, the spells, the magic, the mayhem, it's all just there. It's all what I exactly want it to be. If you like a good epic fantasy and you love lots of multiple POV books, this is definitely comparable to Game of Thrones, but in my opinion it's better because it has more female characters who are great as well as the males. I just think this is fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was gritty, realistic and fun, but also just a really great start point for people who haven't read an awful lot of epic fantasy. Definitely one to sink your teeth into. It's a bit of a chunky one, but so worth it, and I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. And on Goodreads it only has just under 2,000 ratings and 173 reviews, so definitely check it out. And the final one that I have to tell you guys about is SMILER'S by Rebecca Levene. This is part of the Hollow Gods series, which only started a few years ago, and I adore this series. It is fantastic and I think it doesn't get enough recognition. Not only are the covers absolutely stunning, but equally the story within is fantastically gritty, fantastically realistic, very exciting, filled with lots of different POVs and lots of different tribal cultures. The world that this is set in is a very dangerous world and evil things come out at night, so a lot of the different societies and cultures within this have to be able to move at short notice and move their whole society to somewhere completely new, giving the effect of lots of travelling people being part of the world, which is really cool. I think this is a fantastic series with some really great influences of gods and epic beings and things. I would highly recommend this if you haven't checked it out. I think it's fantastic and I'm definitely looking forward to when the third book comes out because yeah, it's just such a good series. I gave the first one 4 stars and then I think I gave the second one 5. It's fantastic. It only has 419 ratings and 100 reviews, so definitely go and check this one out. It's absolutely wonderful and I really love it and highly recommend it. All of these are on my favourite shelf on Goodreads, so they are genuinely favourites of mine. Please do go and look some of them up. I read a lot of fantasy and I think these ones deserve a lot more recognition than they get because they are some of the best that I have read. Please do let me know down below if you will be picking any of these up, and I would love to hear if any of you guys are doing BooktubeSFF Babbles as well. Please link me your video or go on the Goodreads group and link it there because that's where we have a big thread of people who are linking their videos, and I've been checking out many of them and really enjoying many of them. It's been fabulous, so I cannot wait to see what you guys have produced for BooktubeSFF Babbles, and I hope you guys will pick up some of the ones that I just mentioned. I can't wait to see everyone else's videos because I'm sure that they're going to influence me to go and buy loads of things, which is pretty good to be honest, so I can't really complain about that. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in a week or so when the next topic comes up, and I will see you then. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little chat about books.